Hello and welcome inside the Sports Sermon. I am Dylan Staggy here today with Dan Majors. We do not have Jason or Zach or Michael on today. Unfortunately, they all couldn't make it, but we have some important stuff on today's episode. And honestly, it might be kind of a shorter episode because, honestly, we are done with sports. Like live sports for right now with the NBA finals being over.
And we got baseball, but
Yeah, I mean, we have a little bit of college baseball. Maybe we'll talk about that on Thursday just a little bit. But what is on today's show, we do have, we're going to redraft the top 10 from 2017, the 2017 NBA draft. And then we have some rumors because it is rumor season for the NBA, and then we'll get into a little bit of football in our rumors too. We have a few of those, but make sure you guys check us out on Twitter at the Sports Sermon, Sports with a Z. We will be on Periscope, YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. But yeah, let's start getting into today's show. So we are going to go 1 through 10 on the 2017 NBA draft order and give who we would redraft at that pick. So, starting off, the Sixers obviously made that trade with the Celtics last year to move up from 3 to 1. So, number 1 overall, Dan, who do the Sixers grab?
With the first overall pick, the 76ers take Jason Tatum. And, I mean, he, along with Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons, they were the best 3 rookies this year, if you want to call Ben Simmons a rookie. And I mean, I think he has the best potential out of all of them, especially after watching him this year. And he's the safest pick if you would look back at this year and redraft it. So,
I think Tatum's a good option, but another guy that led his team to the playoffs in just his rookie year, Donovan Mitchell, now on the Utah Jazz. But for the Sixers, he would fill really the need. He could be a combo kind of guard, another ball handler for them to go along with Ben Simmons, and they wouldn't have to have the Rookie of the Year debate on different teams. They could be on the same team. Not sure how that beef would work out. But another thing to look at is how far would the Sixers have gone in the playoffs? Obviously, they picked Fultz number 1, and they didn't want to mess him up mentally in the playoffs, and obviously how much can you trust him with his broken jump shot all season long? But Donovan Mitchell, absolute baller. If Ben Simmons played last year, he would be the Rookie of the Year. And it's crazy to think, if the Sixers had him, would they have beaten the Celtics?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. I really don't know. They probably could have made the finals. Who knows from there?
Yeah, I mean, interesting. I'm still a big Fultz guy, so I still believe in him. But I wouldn't pick him at number 1 now knowing what we do know about Donovan Mitchell. But let's go to number 2, the Lakers. Who are you picking there?
Well, I got Donovan Mitchell at 2. I think it was basically between him and Jason Tatum. It really just those two were the best this year out of all the rookies. And like you said, he's just a great guard that led his team to the playoffs. He was perfect for the Jazz, so I think he'd be perfect for the Lakers.
The Lakers in the playoffs this year with Donovan Mitchell?
I don't know. I mean, what the Lakers finish?
Oh, man. I think 10th in the West. They're
Probably.
good like 10 games out. Is he that big a difference?
Probably. I mean, you could then move. You wouldn't have 2 point guards with Isaiah Thomas and who knows if they even would have made that trade.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy going back in all these hypothetical situations, but yeah. I have Donovan Mitchell off the board. So I'm going to stick with Lonzo Ball to the Lakers.
Wow.
Obviously, he was not that good his rookie year. He could not shoot the ball at all. But
second half of the season, he was better.
Yes, he was. I think he still passed well and is still a good point guard for the future for the Lakers. But he's also you can't overlook what he did for LA and bringing those fans back and giving them some more excitement. Obviously, the Lakers haven't been good these past like 6 or 7 years now, trying to rebuild their team. but Lonzo brought a lot of excitement to that fan base, obviously being from LA and everything, being one of the most hyped prospects, and dropping a diss track on Kyle Kuzma. So, I mean, you cannot underrate those kind of things that he also brought to the Lakers. And I think if the Lakers had to redo it, they would still keep him.
That's interesting because, I mean, I think he does still have great potential, but I'm basing it a lot off this past year and what happened. So I don't know.
Okay. So number 3 then, Celtics. Who are they picking?
I got Lauri Markkanen at 3. Yes, the forward. I really liked him this year, especially shooting from 3. I don't have the stats with me, but he shot great from 3. I think he broke some record with fastest threes to something. I forget what it was, but I think the Celtics, they'd have to stick with a forward here because this draft was so point guard heavy because they just got Kyrie Irving. I think you got to stick with a forward, and Lauri Markkanen's perfect for that.
Okay, yeah. I actually, a little sneak peek for the rest of mine, I have Markkanen falling a little bit because after this pick for the Celtics, the next 3 teams don't really need an NBA-ready guy. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I have not had Jason Tatum picked yet, so I think the Celtics also go with Tatum at number 3. Obviously, he was great for them this season, leading them to 7 games against the Cavs, who would go on to the finals. And a great piece for their future, a potential superstar who was NBA-ready this year, like the Celtics needed him to be. And they picked the most NBA-ready guy at 3.
Yep.
Let's move on to the Suns at number 4, though, Dan.
I got Lonzo, and you took him at 2 with the Lakers still. I think that's a perfect fit for the Suns, and I don't know. I just think he still has great potential, like I already talked about. So.
Yeah, I'm going with the other very hyped point guard in this draft class, Markelle Fultz. He fills the Suns' point guard need that they still haven't filled a year later. Obviously, they are not going to in this draft either, as it's basically going to be DeAndre Ayton at number 1 in this year's draft. But I'm going to go with Fultz. I think he still has the most potential of anyone in this draft class. And, I mean, the Suns just really need a point guard.
Definitely.
All right, another point guard needy team, the Kings at 5.
I got Markelle Fultz here. It was a toss-up between him and Ball, who I should take first. And like you said, I think Fultz has the greatest potential. I don't know. I'm still in the same boat as last year, where I thought Markelle Fultz was the safest pick, and he still had potential. And then Lonzo, he was a risk, but still had star potential, close to what Fultz had. But I don't know anymore, obviously, with what happened with his shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think about what happened this past year. So I really don't know. There's definitely a lot of question marks, but he still has great potential, and I hope he does well. So
yeah, I mean, it's still crazy because to this day we still haven't even begun to settle the debate between Markelle Fultz and Lonzo, the first two picks in the 2017 draft. They both struggled with shooting, obviously. Markelle a little bit more. His whole form was messed up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Lonzo's form is messed up, too. So we'll have to see on that one. For number 5, since Lonzo and Markelle are both off the board, I'm taking Dennis Smith Jr. for the Kings. Had a great rookie season. The Kings still get their point guard, and I think a little bit of an upgrade over De'Aaron Fox. Dennis Smith Jr. obviously had the better rookie season over there for the Mavericks. And yeah, Dennis Smith Jr.
All right, at 6, I got the Magic taking Dennis Smith Jr., like you just said. And you basically said it perfectly. I think the Magic need him too. I think that's an upgrade over Jonathan Isaac. So.
Yeah, all right. I'm also going to have the Magic taking the best player available, and that is Josh Jackson for me. The Magic kind of need everything, so that's why I have them taking the best player available, and Josh Jackson still has great potential. Even though he didn't have the best rookie season, And Phoenix, he's still, on the defensive side especially, so much potential as long as he can bulk up. He's still skinny, but he is making progress, and soon he could be a great defensive stopper. And also, if he develops a jump shot, he could be a great part of that Phoenix core, and I think the Magic would definitely take that over Jonathan Isaac, who they picked in the 2017 draft.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about Josh Jackson, and I actually have him falling, and I actually don't have him in my top 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not like him this year much, but I mean, I don't know. He still has a lot of potential, so I definitely wouldn't give up on him. Next is 7 or 8.
Yeah, for the Bulls.
All right, Bulls. I got Kyle Kuzma, and I think that's the closest thing to Lauri Markkanen, and I think that's perfect because that's basically it's close to exactly what the play style and everything is. So.
Yeah, I mean, I am taking Lauri Markkanen
Yeah,
for the
there you
Bulls
go.
because I haven't had him off the board yet. He was great in the rookie season. I believe he was all-rookie first team for the Bulls, and they would definitely do it again if they had the chance in this redraft. Yeah, let's move on to number 8 with the Knicks.
I got Jonathan Isaac. I think he's definitely an upgrade over Frank Ntilikina, Teddy Kana, however you want to say his name. But I like the forward, Jonathan Isaac. I think he's still got a lot of potential. So
I didn't like Jonathan Isaac last year, so I think the Knicks will take another point guard in this draft, and I'm taking De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, he wasn't on the board for the Knicks last year, but I think this time they will pick him over Ntilikina, who didn't have the greatest rookie season. Fox gives them some more speed and explosiveness. Fox still has plenty of potential, even though he didn't perform the best out there in Sacramento, but I mean, not a lot of guys perform well in Sacramento. So I think along with Porzingis, they could make a nice combo together.
Yep. On to 9 with the Mavs. I got De'Aaron Fox. Really wish we could still get Dennis Smith Jr. I'm happy we got Dennis Smith Jr. right now. So De'Aaron Fox, that's definitely a step down from him, but I think it's still a solid pick.
Okay, for the Mavs, I would like to have given them a point guard, but really there's just not any great value after Lonzo, Markelle Fultz, Dennis Smith Jr., and De'Aaron Fox are all off the board, which they are in mine. So I'm going to go with Kyle Kuzma, all-rookie first-teamer. I mean, the only downside to Kuzma here at 9 is that he doesn't have the highest really ceiling.
Exactly, yeah.
He doesn't have the athleticism that some of these other guys have, like a Josh Jackson, like a De'Aaron Fox, who maybe didn't play the best the rookie season, but the Mavs get another nice piece in Kyle Kuzma to add to their front court.
Definitely. At number 10, I got the Blazers taking OG Anunoby. He was definitely a question mark last year with injuries, and he proved his doubters wrong this past year, and he had a great year.
I was between OG and Bam Adebayo, but I'm going to go with Adebayo, actually. It gives the Blazers some extra depth for their big men, which obviously they didn't get a lot of performance out of besides Yusuf Nurkic in that playoff series versus the Pelicans, and that was a big reason that they got swept. They had no one to guard Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo gives at least a body. Obviously, he was still a rookie, and obviously, I don't think this would make a difference in the series, but at least it would give them another guy that's not Ed Davis stepping out there and trying to guard Anthony Davis. But that is going to do it for our 2017 Top 10 redraft. Make sure you guys stay tuned, especially next week, for more draft content for 2018. We will be all about the draft, all about the NBA trades, all about the NBA rumors next week. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And now we're going to move on to some NBA rumors for these first 4, and then we have a few football ones, as now it is minicamp time in the NFL. But to start it off, Dwayne Casey is now the Pistons coach. Dan, do you like the hire?
Great hire. for the Pistons. Raptors, they made a terrible decision letting him go, in my opinion. He's in the running for Coach of the Year. He just had a bad series getting swept by a top 2 greatest player of all time, and he should not be judged only by that. The Pistons, they now have a coach for the future, although they will have to be patient in the process because they don't have basically any pieces right now.
Yeah, I mean, for the Raptors, like, they fired Dwayne Casey to hopefully get in there a better coach, a big-name coach, but, I mean, today they hired Nick Nurse, one of Dwayne Casey's assistants, so I think a big fail on the Raptors' part, not getting a big name like Jerry Stackhouse in there, who went to be an assistant for the Grizzlies. Not sure which side really turned that offer down, but I do like the hire for the Pistons. Dwayne Casey obviously has a lot of experience in the East. He got the Raptors to the number 1 seed this season, and even though they got destroyed in the playoffs by LeBron, I'm sure the Pistons would rather have that than what they did this season, missing out on the playoffs and don't even get their first draft pick as they gave it to the Clippers in exchange for Blake Griffin. All right, next rumor. Jaren Jackson Jr. apparently had a monster workout for the Suns on Sunday and continues to be the long-term prospect outside of those top 4. And really, some teams are trying to work up and try to move up in the draft to try to select him now. Do you like that, Dan?
Well, I say he's a top 5 prospect right now, but he's the 5th best out of those. And I would say it is worth trading up for, based on the fact that there is a drop-off after number 5. I mean, I don't know where you think a drop-off is, but I got a big drop-off after number 5. And I think a lot of teams should be trying to trade up into that top 5.
I also completely agree with you. He's the 5th best out of those top 5 prospects, whichever order you want it. This isn't my order, but Ayton, Doncic, Bagley, Jackson, and who am I forgetting?
Bamba.
Yeah, Mo Bamba too. Those 5, I think, are definitely the top 5 in the draft. So if a team wants to trade up, they got to get that 5th pick, and apparently the Mavs are looking to...
I'm so upset right now, dude.
Yeah, the Mavs are looking to trade at number 5.
Why?
It would definitely be a good move for a team, but not really for the Mavs unless they get a crazy offer.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no reason. There's literally no reason. You get Jackson, Bamba. Those are 2 guys expected to be late out of those top 5. Just get the 5th guy out of those top 5, and it's perfect. Because that is the top 5 is solid.
Tier 1.
Exactly.
Tier 1 of this draft. And Jackson is likely to be there at the 5th pick. He's likely to be the 5th one.
Yeah.
But make sure you guys stay tuned next week as we'll give out our big boards and mock drafts so we can talk about all these prospects. And I know Jason was mad at me earlier because I had Jaren Jackson Jr. as my 5th best prospect. So I know he'll be mad at both of us then.
Yeah, he will.
Next week. Big Michigan State guy over there, and Jason. But next thing, Kevin Durant apparently can picture retiring just 5 years from now. Dan, what do you think?
I'm so confused. I mean, I guess if he just wins a bunch of championships, he doesn't care about what anyone else thinks about him, then why not? But I do think he cares what others think, especially after the burner accounts. So I'm just so confused. Like, he'll be 34 years old, and he has an okay body. I mean, he is really thin, but I don't know. 5 years?
I mean, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
As much as I hate KD and I wish he would retire today, like, you're just depriving everybody of, like, what you can still do being only 34 years old. And, I mean, we don't know what will happen with the Warriors, obviously, and everything by that time. But, I mean, my only question is why?
I mean, another thing, LeBron still might be in the league in 6 years. So, I mean, you really don't know with LeBron how far he will be able to go. And so if he retires after KD, that'd be insane.
All right. Speaking of LeBron, Gary Payton came out and said, I believe a couple days ago now, that LeBron James has enrolled Bronny, LeBron James Jr., his oldest son, at Sierra Canyon High School, which is near L.A. Are you buying it, Dan? Is LeBron going to L.A. now?
I mean, you don't know if this is true. If it is 100% true, then yeah, basically it's final that he's going to L.A. So it'll be interesting, though.
I mean, LeBron has always said he's going to do what is best for his family, number one, in this free agency period. And, I mean, the best destinations for his family are probably going to be Cleveland, Miami, or Los Angeles. Cleveland, just because that's where they were for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Miami, they've been there before. And Los Angeles, they have a home in Los Angeles. And obviously with this coming out, I'm not sure if I believe it. I mean, it's only the first day since the finals, and Gary Payton comes out and says this. And I mean, they apparently some journalists called the school, and they denied it. But obviously, the school is going to deny it. What kind of school is going to say, like, if any kid is going to their school? Like, that's just weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
But I was watching The Jump earlier today, and Scottie Pippen, he did not deny it. Scottie Pippen's son also goes to Sierra Canyon High School, and he sounded very reluctant to say anything. Rachel Nichols she kept pressing him on it, and he, didn't want to deny it. So, I mean...
It's weird. It's
a weird story coming out on the first day after LeBron gets swept in the finals. So we'll have to see. We'll have plenty of LeBron crazy rumor content on this show. Just stay tuned. But now it is football time. So first piece of news, Hunter Johnson, who is a former 5-star quarterback, lost the job at Clemson, and he is transferring to Northwestern. He can't play in 2018, but I'll turn it over to Dan, our resident college football biggest fan here.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's a huge pickup for Northwestern. Indiana native from Brownsburg. Shout out Indiana.
Yeah.
Just fantastic for Northwestern. Like you said, was a former 5-star and transferred because he had Trevor Lawrence coming in behind him. And, I mean, in my opinion, I think he should have been in the running for that quarterback spot. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Dabo was thinking or anybody, but it's interesting. And I can't wait to see how he does. I know he's got to sit out a year, but that's a big pickup for Northwestern.
Yeah, and just another team in the Big Ten so that my Hoosiers can never get an upset win. We always come so close. And, I mean, he's a big recruiting piece now for Northwestern. Obviously, some guys are going to want to come play with him. And Northwestern, not traditionally a big football school, that might be the one extra piece that puts them over the top and maybe can throw them in the ranks of Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State.
I don't know about that. I mean, it takes a lot more than just...
They've got some nice facilities now, too.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, I could see them being in the running for a Big Ten title, I guess, like one of these years with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, not Trevor Lawrence, Hunter Johnson. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Unfortunately, he can't play next year, but we will keep our eye on that. Now let's turn it over to the NFL. It is training camp time, and some big names are holding out right now. Julio Jones, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack, David Johnson, Gronk, just to name a few, are trying to get some more money on their contracts. Dan, is this a big deal?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just stupid. This shows everyone on your team that you really don't care about helping your team get better. I understand the contract situation, but, it's stupid. I think it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, the one you look at the most, Julio Jones, he has 3 years left on his deal, and he is still holding out. I mean, these guys want to get paid. Some of them I understand, like Aaron Donald. He's the best defensive player in the NFL, and he hasn't got a new contract from his rookie season. I mean, he's still looking to cash in on that first big one. But we'll have to see. Usually these deals, usually these holdouts don't really result in anything. I mean, they'll eventually come back when the team's probably not going to pay them any more money. But these are definitely some really big names holding out. We will keep our eye on that and see if anything comes out of it. But here is the big NFL rumor of the day. Andrew Luck has thrown a football. Man, this is crazy.
It's lit. I mean, let's just hope he's ready for this year. I still think the Colts, I mean, let's not get into that because we could be getting into that debate for the 100th time, but I still think the Colts should trade him. But, I mean,
no.
We're not getting into that debate right now.
Yeah, the other day I put a bet down, $1 for the Colts to win a Super Bowl. I'll win 75 if they get it done. And this
year?
This is big news for me. Yes, this year. I threw down.
You put $1 down.
I threw down $1 because I mean 75. That's still a big payout.
Hey,
but I mean, obviously, even if Andrew Luck comes back, the Colts are probably not going to be Super Bowl contenders. But being a Colts fan, this just means the Colts are winning the Super Bowl. Apparently, it might have been a high school football. It might have been a college football. Apparently, there's some different rumors. Andrew Luck said that he threw an NFL football, so maybe. But Captain Andrew Luck is also back. The account on Twitter, you got to follow them, @CaptAndrewLuck. And so the latest letter, if you guys haven't seen it, he writes little letters to his mom. It's obviously fake. It's just because Andrew Luck has that nice beard. But the letter says, "Dearest Mother, I write with exuberance. Today, for the first time after many sunrises, I fired my sidearm in full view of onlookers. It was a sight, I admit. Some were startled. The unit has a grueling campaign that inches closer daily. I shall be ready. I love you, Andrew."
That's awesome.
So, Captain Andrew Luck is back. Colts are winning the Super Bowl, confirmed.
There you go.
All right, and last thing on the show today, we've got a crazy, weird story. Dennis Rodman, who is a friend of Kim Jong-Un, he's in Singapore ahead of Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un's meeting to try and figure something out with their nuclear weapons. But Rodman says he is willing to give whatever support is needed to his friends, Trump and Kim Jong-un. What a crazy guy. But the best part of this story, his trip to Singapore, it is sponsored by Potcoin. And yes, that is exactly what you think Potcoin sounds like. It is Bitcoin for weed. Dennis Rodman, what a guy. I mean,
I don't even know what to say. That's just crazy.
Oh man, gotta love Dennis Rodman. If no one can make friends with Kim Jong-un, just leave it to Dennis Rodman. He's the only guy. 25 years ago, he's putting together championship teams with Michael Jordan. Now he's friends with Kim Jong-un.
Isn't he in the running for the Nobel Peace Prize or something?
I mean, if the U.S. and North Korea figure something out, I think he should be. You gotta throw him in there. Anyway, that is our show today. A little bit of a shorter one, but I mean, what can we do? There's no more NBA games to talk about. But we promise we will have some longer ones, especially starting next week, once some NBA trades are not rumored about and actually happen. The draft is going to be a crazy one, and so next week we will be all about the draft. But we also have an episode coming up on Thursday and Saturday So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We will have all the updates on our Twitter at the Sports Sermon, sports with a Z, of course. And this is Dylan Staggy and Dan Majors signing off for today. Yeah, it's NBA offseason time, boys.